Welcome to the Pull Pin Podcast, everyone. Today we're going to talk about feedback. How do you handle feedback? What do you do with it? What do you do with it? Is it good? Is it good to get critiqued, criticized? You know, is feedback a good feedback is what we're talking about today, everybody. Okay. Before I cue the intro, I do have to invite a special guest that's going to be joining us today. I forgot to invite my special guest before the past few episodes, but let me invite my special guest today. Hold on one second. We're going to pull from over here. Let's see. It is, we've already seen that. Okay, here it is. Sally. Nightmare Before Christmas. Sally. I used to love this movie as a kid. Nightmare Before Christmas. I used to love this movie. And I didn't even know there's a whole culture around it that's all I don't even know. I just think it's a cool movie. I love it so much. Yeah. And then I hate that it's I don't know. People get all weird about it. I just think it's a cool movie. So anyway, Sally's the guest today. And I love this movie. I have a plush doll from it. I actually have all of them. Look, I got these from Walmart's. That was an impulse buy. I was walking by and I saw them. I was like, hey, look, oh my gosh, it's Jack Skellington. I hate it because I like it for cool reasons. I like it for normal reasons, whatever, man. But anyway, these aren't the guests today. Sal Gal is. Give me a second. Sal Gal. Enjoy the chair. Okay, now that she is locked and loaded, ready to go, cue that intro for me. All right, I'm gonna record.
What's
so simple? Whatever's from the heart.
Yeah. My name's
Handling feedback. What dost thou do? What do you do? What do you do with handling feedback? Well, feedback is a tough one. Feedback is a very tough one. By and large, people like to avoid conflict. And they don't like to be made to feel like they're not good enough or they're doing something wrong, you know? People want to be patted on the back. They want to feel good about themselves. We don't naturally be give me all the feedback, tell me how, It's tough. It is tough. It's tough when someone comes in and they say hey, and it's this critique about something you've done or your life or you, whatever it is. Getting feedback. It's not easy for everyone. And I get it. There's a lot of reasons for that. I think the biggest thing is that oftentimes, the overwhelming majority of the times, people take feedback personally. It's for a lot of reasons. Either it hurts something inside of us, or we feel like that person's being being a dick about something, or we make it an emotional thing, and it's not healthy. So the first thing is this, to me, I know with feedback, it's really important to look at feedback as if it were just data. That's it. It's just data. It's information. Just information. I know with film, I deal with feedback all the time, constantly, and you can get riled up by it. But first, it's okay, the statement, the thing, whatever it is, all it is information. It's just something that somebody said. That's it. And with that, the only way to do that is you have to separate out your emotions from the feedback that you got, no matter how personal it feels, no matter how much they said that because of this, and they did, right? I think it's really healthy to adopt a mentality as a person that when you get critique or whatever it is, or when you do something and it's critiqued, however you want to call it, criticism, critique, feedback, I think feedback, I don't know, what's the best word? But I think the best thing to do is to look at it objectively, but really the first thing is separate out your emotions from it. Pull back your emotions and look at it more as just a statement. That's all it is. It's just a comment. That's all it is. It's not easy to do. I know. The more personal it feels, the harder it is. But you've got to step away from the feedback, the thing, You got to step away. You got to look at it objectively. Why? Because once somebody says something, if you can separate out the emotion and then look at just what is said, right? The feedback that you got. Say, okay, here's objectively what was said. Now I can evaluate whether or not that statement, that thing that was said, whatever it is, whether or not it's true or whether it has merit to at least some degree. Instead of rejecting it, or like being sucked in, like, oh, wow, I'm the best, you know, like either way, it's good to separate it out, look at it, and then really think, like logically, coherently, think through and be like, okay, this is the feedback that was like said. Here it is outside of myself. Now I can evaluate whether or not this resonates or whether it's true. It's the first step, and it's one of the most important ones, is the first two steps, I think. Separate yourself emotionally and look at it objectively. You have to. Because then you can look at the thing that was said. The critique, the feedback, whatever it is, you can look at the thing that was actually said versus making this very personal ordeal. And you can believe that coming from the guy with a rat shirt. Now, hold on, I gotta light the fire. I forgot. Excuse me. Bam. Bam, baby. Bam. Damn. Damn. Okay, all right. I want to thank today's sponsor for the video as well. The sponsor for today's episode is, give me a second here. The sponsor for today's episode is, we got to roll with it. Long extension cords. This is a weird one. This is all they sent me. I'm not really sure what the brand is. They didn't even tell me. There's a little copy there I can read. So anyway, long extension cords. Why? Like, what is this? Well, what's cool about this is I think this is a 25-footer. Now, check this out. It's got 1, 2, 3 plugs. 3, and they're 3-prong each on one side. 25 feet. And here's the coolest feature, everyone. This right here, give me a second here. For all of you that are listening, I'm rotating I'm rotating the end of the extension cord where the 3 prongs are. It's rotating. Check it. What? Because then I can kind of put it like in a position where I'm like, click on the side, this, that, whatever. It's very helpful. I got a ton in my house. Anyway, long extension cords. That's and we have to recognize how important these sponsors are because they are the like lifeblood of this channel. Okay, they are the bread and butter. They are the reason I am doing what I'm doing. So I'm very grateful for these sponsors that are randomly just coming in like crazy, and I'm trying to find the copy. Man, I dropped the ball. The copy for this one, what they wanted to say was 360 degrees rotating plug. And that's trademarked. There's a TM on that. And there's a couple arrows. So 360 degree rotating plug. That's the copy we got to read here. This is probably what else we got? Patent in the USA. How about that? Patent USA 8747119, Taiwan, China E747779 CC-002RSS. That's a sponsor. Thank you very much to Long Extension Cords. Let's clap it up for them, please. Thank you very much. We do love it. We love to see the long extension cords a part of this channel, guys. I'm actually using one right now to power everything. Anyway, enough of that bullshit. Am I right? Now, what do you do about the source? You know, people say, hey, consider the source, right? What do you do about that? How important is it to consider where the information is coming from? Well, I think it's very important. In a lot of ways, absolutely. So I mean, like, I think it's pretty self-evident, right? Like, it's like, you know, I'm not putting anybody down or this, but it's like if you have an addict giving you advice on how to break free from addiction, you're kind of like, bro, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if this is like valid, right? Or if you have this, like, someone that's like struggling with the thing you're trying to get advice about, or someone that's like never had the thing that you're talking about, right? Like asking like some guy off the corner, like, hey, well, how do you play in the NBA? It's like, of course, like maybe he doesn't really know, you know? Anyway. That's pretty self-evident that the source matters, right? But the pushback I want to give is this, and I think this is actually interesting and more pertinent to what I'm trying to say. Ad hominem. I believe I'm saying that right. So I like writing down some of these things. The logical fallacy in an argument. I'm sure you smart people out there already know what it is, but ad hominem, I'm going to read it. It says, of an argument or reaction directed against a person rather than the position they are maintaining. I'll say that again in a different way. In a way that is directed against a person rather than the position they are maintaining. Okay. Why is it important? It's important because one of the things that we naturally do as people when we feel like there's some kind of thing, especially if feedback, like if it like hits us in a certain way, or if it like, kind of pricking our heart, we're like, man, they might be right. We love to look at their life and say, well, you're wrong because you're dumb, or you can't do that, or did it. Instead of looking at what was said objectively, we attack their character. We attack them, right? Well, you can't be right because you blah, 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 blah. And it's like when you think about it, if you're just trying to talk and like dialogue around an idea to diminish the merit, I keep saying merit, to diminish the legitimacy of an idea by saying you're a bad person, whatever it is, to diminish that by that's not, it's a logical fallacy. It doesn't connect, right? Not fully. We do have to acknowledge that people who may not know anything about a certain subject, or people who haven't experienced something, or people who, whatever it is, they can still say something that's true. It's a stupid example or way to put it, but like you think about like the most like conniving, cheating con man there ever was, right? And then he says 2 + 2 is 4. It's like, well, you're a liar. What would you know? You mess with the numbers all the time and you deceive people and blah. But he's actually right. 2 + 2 is 4. Again, I know it's a silly example, but really that idea, it's like regardless of his lifestyle or character or whatever it may be, the guy said something that is still true. Extreme example, but that can apply in our lives as well. It really can. And I know that like one of the first things we want to do is like undermine what they said by saying, well, you're not, It's like somebody saying like, hey man, like I think like maybe you should like I feel you're looking a little thin, man. Maybe you should work out again and kind of gain a few pounds, whatever. Then look at them and be like, well, you're a fat piece of shit. What would you know? You don't know anything about the gym. You don't even working out. It's like, oh, okay, all right. But it's like, you might be right. Maybe you are looking, maybe you should like change your diet some. Maybe you should kind of like, hey, think about what you're doing to yourself. It's easy to be looking at him and be like, well, what do you know? And it's like, well, maybe he knows something. We have pause for a little segment today. Typically, we used to do this game, Splickety-Lit. We used to do a board game. But I don't like trivia. So what we're going to do now today is let's explore Tyler's thoughts in the past. I have old notebooks. I write stuff down all the time. That's how I sort of my thoughts sometimes. So we're going to explore that and say, what did that mean? What did it mean? Oh, this is a blank page. Damn it. Hold on. What did that mean? Okay. This says sunk in 2 months. Sunk in 2 months. That's what that says. What does that mean? October, monthly expenses. Okay. Woo. Okay. Well, this was from when so I had a townhouse a little north of here, and I wanted to move closer to downtown for a lot of reasons. And I was going to try and keep the other house as a rental property. But then once I moved, after all the expenses of a home equity loan and furnishing and the other place actually was costing me money every month. So even though there was equity being built, it was becoming really expensive. So I was like, damn, I can't use this as a rental property. I need to sell this thing. So as I was calculating my expenses, I wrote sunk in 2 months because that's almost where I was financially at that point. I was like, I need to make some money, baby, or I'm in the shitter. Okay, so that's it. That's what that means. So that's our time of playing. What did Tyler mean? Good memories. Good memories. I know the personal example in my life, and this is kind of funny, I know, is, as a Christian, it's like, I know that one thing that I've dealt with is like issues of like behavior, morality, right? Where the line is for things and different subjects like that. And I remember going to a Bible study one time, and someone came to me afterwards and just mentioned good guy. I don't even know anything about him. I don't know. But he's mentioned. He said, hey, I feel like just kind of might have a stronghold on you in your life. And I think like, it was even just like, I don't remember the full content, but just somebody have a stronghold. And something for me to like pray about, And immediately, and I'm okay today, but immediately I knew in my heart what he was talking about. It was alcohol. My mind went instantly to it. I was like, now it would have been really easy to look at him, and I don't know his story, but it would have been easy to be like, well, what do you know? You're in a Bible study. You don't deal with this. You don't struggle with this. You don't understand. Right? Undermine everything that he just said because I don't like that. You're wrong. And here's why you're wrong. Blah, blah, blah. But if I could, but really separating out, any ideas or perceptions from that, for me, it's like, if I can look at this statement objectively, it's like, in that season I was struggling. And since we got under control, thank God. But he was right, And regardless of his story, he was still right. And that's why I say it's so important to be objective. It's not about just their character or how it made you feel or what you want to believe or whatever it is. With feedback, if you can just separate all those things out and look at it objectively, that's when you can really weigh out whether or not the feedback is valid or beneficial. And I want to say this. I know with filmmaking, boy, do I get feedback all the time. All the TikTok time. Not TikTok the app, just clock, TikTok. I don't know. So, I get feedback all the time. And a lot of times the feedback will come in and people are really poor at how they word things. Clients give shitty feedback a lot. It's so annoying. Dear Lord. But I know I get tons of hey, can you change this? Can you understandably so. It's the work that I do. I get it. But I remember when I was writing the script for the film that I directed, it's when I was writing it, there was someone used to know, very grateful for her support and help in that season. She would print out the script and go through it and edit it. And when I say edit, point out things that were pain points, issues, things that make sense, whatever it was. And we sit down and it's crazy helpful and insightful and pointing out different things that maybe were incongruent or that were maybe didn't make sense or whatever it is. And I remember now with her, it was we had a good relationship at the time. And I'm not angry at her, but there is a sense of okay, well, if that's a problem, now what do I do? Man, burp time. Okay, well, what do I do, right? Or you can get defensive, well, I don't know how to fix that. Ugh. And even beyond the script, I would just get so much feedback, right? But here's the crazy thing about the feedback. If I can look at it objectively, right? If it's good feedback, I'm actually the only one that benefits from it. Later on, if the feedback that whether with the script or the people that give me feedback during the edit, shout out Jared, man, Adam Hardy, Justice Hardy, my man hooked me up, man, with the right people. Just people watching the film and getting feedback. If I could just look at what they said outside of my personal judgment of the film and be are they right? Does this make the film better? Am I guarding this for personal reasons? If it makes the film better, and this one, Jared Anderson, awesome director, man, filmmaker. I remember my buddy Adam Hardy, Justice Hardy, was send the notes to your film to Jared, and it'll be the last edits you need. I was okay, fine, whatever. He sent the hour. The film was an hour and 53 minutes. I want to say. He sent back 5 pages of detailed notes, and I started pacing because I was broski, I can't do this, man. I can't make all these edits, Editing a feature, it took 5 months just to get a rough cut of only doing that, I was dear Lord, man, I went through all this, blah, blah, blah. But I sat down, I was okay, fine. And I wasn't upset with him, it was just more so the overwhelming sense of the feed. So I was but I sat down, I was okay. And I applied the feedback. It only took me half a day to do it. And it made the film so much better. So much better. It eliminated a lot of the parts where it kind of was dragging or being held down by either whether it's bad acting in certain spots or just pacing was slow. And it's me kind of being willing to just eat shit and listen and do what he said. It made the film better, which then makes me look better as a director, right? So it's not all about me and like, oh, look at me. I definitely want to give credit. That's why I want to give credit to where credit's due. Absolutely. But that's what I'm saying is that the crazy thing is that with good feedback, regardless of who it comes from, regardless of how personal it feels, if it's good feedback, it makes you better and healthier. You're the one that benefits. It's not like if your character changes in a positive way that for the rest of your life, you're like, hey, let me tell you when this person, like, people just perceive you as a better person. They like you better, whatever it might be. It's like you receive the benefit of that feedback, and the person who criticized you, even if it came from a like a contentious place or a malicious place, they don't get the benefit of it. You're the one that benefits. And so it's like with good feedback, there's only good things to glean from it. And that's what's crazy. It's like we said everything, we get all bitter, and it's like, yo, bro, like if it's good, you're the only one that gets some out of this. And that's why I say it's so important to like separate out the emotion, the person, separate it out and really evaluate, is this true? Now some things, toss it, don't interpret it, like, whatever it is, don't internalize. Yes, don't be over, like, be careful. But a lot of times I think it's really good to step back and evaluate it objectively and say, okay, what do I do with this? Why did this make me feel this way? That's a big one. It's like, why am I feeling this way? Separate it out. And then really evaluate, is this good? And if it's good, sorry, someone's texting me. Really separate it out and say, is this good? Will this make me a better person? Will this make what I do better? Well, whatever it is. Positive outcome. And then have the humility to apply it. And recognize that, like, in listening to, like, good feedback, it's not like, oh, it validates all of the things that they say. It's like, no, really, it just makes you a better person. It makes what you do better. And it makes you look better. So feedback. Get some feedback in your life, man. Slow down. Listen. Chill out, man. Relax. Sally knows. I don't even know if you can see Sally on camera. There. How about now? Sally, what do they say about feedback? That's true. That's very true. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was very true, man. All right, well, that's all I got to say about feedback. Yeah, that's it. Bye.
Love means to me doing something for people because they're worth it. I think it's an expression of what they mean to you. So you give, you invest in them. You love on purpose. So Valentine's and love, give of yourself to others.
Okay, and then if you had to pick, what was that? You got to pick.